Welcome back to Unapologetically Visible, the podcast for high-achieving Latina and women of color founders who are done being the best-kept secret. I'm your host, Christina Olivarez, award-winning visibility and leadership coach, TEDx speaker, and founder and CEO of the Social Butterfly Gal and Hustle and Socialize. You ever heard a phrase so often that it starts to lose its meaning but still manages to make you feel like shit? Today we're getting into a phrase that honestly, I've retired. I don't believe in it anymore, and I don't subscribe to it. For me, that phrase is, "You're playing small." I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that phrase in my entrepreneurial career. Sometimes I would hear it from mentors and podcasts and thought leaders that I follow on the internet. And even sometimes from the voice that's in my own head that never stopped asking, am I doing enough? I'm sure you've heard that phrase, right? Probably heard that you're playing small from a coach, a friend, a podcast, and maybe from your own inner voice that whispers, girl, you could be doing more. You should be scaling. You should be hitting your next level. Woof! It always sounded like an invitation to rise. But if I'm being real with you, that phrase often felt like an accusation. Like somehow, no matter what I achieved, it was never enough. For years, I would buy into it. I would believe that I was playing small. I thought unless I was growing a team, adding in more offers, or even switching up those offers, booking bigger venues, hiring more contractors, launching something new, that I wasn't truly succeeding. I would achieve something that was genuinely good, like solid revenue, consistent clients, and stability. And instead of celebrating or just sustaining it, I would immediately tell myself, okay, this is great, Christina, cool, but you're still playing small. Why don't you go bigger or go home? And when I look back on that, I can see exactly when the conditioning started to sink in. I would hit a goal. Maybe it was consistent 10K months, or even finally selling out the conference, landing that big sponsorship. And instead of letting myself be proud, I would immediately say, what's next? No pausing to double down and actually make it consistent year after year. I would just be telling myself, you're playing small and you need more. And then I got more, and it didn't feel good. It didn't go my way, and it crushed my ego. I think my ego was actually the one that was doing a lot of talking over the last couple of years because I was exhausted and overextending. And of course, I burned out. I would tell myself that I was playing small, and I would keep pushing myself to go more, to go bigger, to do all the things because I thought that playing small meant that I would have to justify adding more chaos into my life. I would convince myself that the burnout that I was experiencing was a price that I had to pay for going small or playing small and adding to go bigger. That exhaustion meant that I was growing. I was chasing big, as if it was the only version of success that counted. And somewhere along the way, I forgot that the whole point of building a business was to integrate it into the life that I wanted for myself, the life that I'm building, the legacy that I'm living. Why did I think that playing small was a bad thing? Oh, that's right. It's because I've been conditioned to believe in that and not actually understanding what type of life and success is enough for me and what type of life and success do I actually want to build. And that's what I've learned since and what I coach my clients through now. The phrase, you're playing small, often is not motivation. It's manipulation. It's rooted in this assumption that success is only linear, that success can only be up. that it's healthy, that a healthy business must be one that's constantly expanding every year. That if you're not growing by the external metrics like followers, revenue, team size, and your social media reach, then you must be shrinking. You must be playing small, right? We've been sold this lie and this narrative that the only direction in your business is up. That you can't have those wobbly years, because if you do, then you're a failure, right? That real success looks like adding more people onto your team, or more zeros in your bank account, bigger stages, bigger rooms, bigger visibility. But nobody talks about what happens when your business outgrows your nervous system. When the pace that once made you proud now feels like a punishment. When the strategy that got you here doesn't fit who you have become. I've lived that. I've scaled without expanding my capacity. I built things that looked beautiful from the outside, but felt hollow on the inside. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't want to keep scaling. Here's what I know now and what I coach my clients to understand. Scaling isn't the only measure of success in life or in business. Your satisfaction and your joy is. I work with high-earning Latina and women of color founders, the women who are already making six figures and who have proven that they can hustle, the ones who know how to create those results. The conversation is never about how they could be doing more or adding more. Of course they can. They've already done it thus far. But the real question is, should they? Because the skill set that got you to 100K won't be the same that will sustain you to 500,000. Often, what you need isn't another strategy. It's actually permission. The permission to evolve. The permission to change your mind. To redefine success beyond the actual external metrics and visibility metrics. The permission to stop trying to be a version of you that's actually already enough. See, what I've learned is that playing small isn't about capacity. It's about clarity. When you don't know what you truly want, you'll keep chasing what everyone else wants. You'll keep chasing other people's version of success. And I'm not here to coach women into someone else's version of success. I'm here to walk beside them while they remember their own. Let's talk about this idea of getting to the next level. Phrase gets thrown around like confetti. Your next level doesn't mean adding more to your plate. It can mean going deeper, to really have this intimate level with the clients that you work with and the people who are already on your team, or maybe have more intimacy around trusting your gut and your decisions. Getting to the next level could mean simpler. It's about being smarter and building systems and processes that actually is simpler. It can mean peaceful, doing the work that just brings so much joy to your life, that adds peace and not complicates the work that you love doing. Let me tell you about one of my clients. She's a brilliant Latina consultant, earning well into six figures, already in her 5th year in business. When she came to me, she said, "Christina, I feel like I should be doing more. I see other people that are doing the same things as me build agencies. I'm already in year 5. And I'm still running my business solo. Am I playing small? I should be hiring a team. Why aren't I?" So then I asked her and coached her around if she actually wants to build a team. That's when I asked her, when you think about building a team, what feelings and thoughts come to you? Does it feel good? Does it feel like that's exactly what you want and the level of success that you want to achieve? I said no. I love the intimacy of my work. I don't want to manage a lot of people. When I think about building a team, what feels really good in my gut is maybe managing 1 or 2 people, like maybe having an admin assistant or someone that can help me with billing and getting all of my things in order. I love my clients and working directly with them. I can't imagine managing a team of people. I just feel like I should want to build out an agency. And that's where I stopped her, because that right there, the should, is the problem. Every should comes from someone else's version of success. We stripped it back. We started to rebuild her goals around what she actually wanted in this new way. She wanted to work with a handful of dreamy clients and maybe outsource to somebody that could help her with her billing and her books and getting her systems and processes in order. She didn't want to have an actual team with full-time employees. She just wanted something that allowed her to outsource so that she could take a real vacation and finally be able to pay herself actual net 6 figures. No scaling, no giant rebrand, no adding on things to her plate. She just wanted to be fully aligned with that next level version that she's already becoming. And 6 months later, she hit those income goals and she brought on an assistant to her team. She told me, I feel lighter because I stopped trying to prove that I needed to be scaling. That's the work. That's the liberation. For one of my clients, her next level was working 4 days a week and having Fridays off to be with her daughter. And for another, it was staying at her current income level, but finally feeling safe in her business. And for me, right now, my next level looks like sustainability. It looks like flow and ease and peace and spaciousness. As I think about my next era and chapter and decade in my business, one that's prioritizing motherhood and building wealth without sacrificing myself, all of that looks like doing the things that light me up, like coaching and speaking and mentoring and advising. Because being aligned with my human design, which by the way, in human design, I'm a generator with a 4-6 profile, and I have a whole entire podcast episode about human design and how I'm using it to reimagine my life and business, which I'll link in the show notes below. But when I think about being in full alignment with my human design, it's all about doing the things within my business and my capacity that fully light me up. And I know for that, it is coaching, and it's building a coaching business and not wanting to add more and just being okay with playing small. Because I now know what it looks like to actually go big when you're not ready for that. Or maybe you're not ready for that, but maybe it's I wasn't in alignment anymore with that. To manage a big team, that does not bring me joy. And if it does not bring me joy, then why am I going to build that? I want to do work that is purposeful and meaningful and that lights me up. And that's what I'm going to do. Because I've learned that success that costs you your peace is too expensive on all ends. Your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial health. I've lived through it through this year's conference season, and I'm done. I am recommitting to rebuilding and reimagining my business that is full of joy. We as Latinas and women of color have inherited definitions of success that were never designed with our fullness and our nervous system and our lived realities in mind. We were taught that visibility must be loud and that success must be constant. We can't mess up, or not even just mess up, but our success doesn't look like having maybe a tiny little dip. Leadership always must be polished and perfect. But what if we rewrite that rule? What if playing small is actually protecting your energy in your current season of life? What if not scaling is actually sustaining your sanity? What if your version of success is rooted in joy and self-trust and not constantly proving or needing validation from others? So let me offer you this reframe. When someone says you're playing small, I want you to ask yourself, am I actually playing small, or am I being intentional with the level of success that I feel is needed in my current season of life and business? Because maybe your season of small is actually your season of strength. Maybe you're building systems that no one is seeing. And maybe you are quietly raising your rates. That's going to get you to the next level. Maybe you're starting to rebuild trust within your body so that you can actually make aligned decisions with no one's input. I call this the invisible expansion. Expansion or expand is my word for 2025, and I've learned so many things about that word through the lived experiences that I've had, because at the beginning of the year, I thought that expansion meant going big and adding on all these things and just more, when in reality, I am learning that expansion doesn't necessarily mean big. It can mean that invisible expansion that is allowing me to understand what I truly value and want in the next decade of my life and my business. It's the kind of growth that is not going to show up on my profit and loss statements or in my analytics, because it's the foundation for everything that is going to sustain me into the next iteration and next level of my career. Let's do a little mini coaching together. If you're multitasking right now, I want you to pause. I want you to take a breath and ask yourself honestly, what version of big am I chasing right now? And who told me that was the definition of success? Now ask yourself the harder question. What does enough look like for me? If that answer makes you emotional or you're having trouble answering that question, it's okay. That's actually really good, because it means that you're finally hearing your own voice again. You're finally not having to look at others and their version of success, their version of more, and really truly understand what enough looks like for you in this current season. And that's where everything changes. Because once you start to define your enough, you can actually start building from satisfaction instead of scarcity. And that is what it means to be unapologetically visible. Your dreams are allowed to look however you want them to be. Maybe your dream is the 7-figure empire. Maybe it is those consistent 6-figure years with space to breathe. Maybe it is building a team. Maybe it means to be a thought leader who works 3 days a week and picks up their kids every day at 3 p.m. And maybe it's you being known for your brilliance and not your busyness. All of those dreams are valid, and all of those are powerful. The only small dream is the one that doesn't belong to you. So if you take anything else from this podcast episode, I want you to take this. You don't need another person telling you that you're playing small. What you need is a coach, a mentor, and a mirror that helps you see the bigness already inside of you. Because when you move from that place, you become magnetic. And that's when you stop performing success and start living it. If you resonated with this episode, here's what I want you to do next. Subscribe and leave a review, because that helps this podcast reach more women like us, women who were never meant to stay hidden, women who are meant to be highly visible leaders. Share this episode with someone you love who is obsessed with the phrase playing small. And DM me on Instagram @thesocialbutterflygal. Tell me your biggest reframe, your biggest breakthrough from today's conversation. And if you're feeling the call to go deeper, to recalibrate your personal brand, leadership, and visibility, I would love to support you through one-on-one coaching. You can find the coaching information and offers in the links in the show notes below, or you could send me a DM with the word coaching, and I'll personally walk you through what offers are in alignment with your current season and what it looks like to step in to this next era with clarity, confidence, and unapologetic authority. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and for all the shares and reviews. Remember this, you didn't come this far to play safe. You came here to be unapologetically visible. I'll see you next week.